turn games like that single-handedly or given an opportunity. So the hard thing is that Arsenal have invested an awful lot of money over the last few years within the squad. And I think he's almost said it, is that he's not sure how much they've got to spend or whether there is money to spend in January. But his hands are very tied at the moment with the injuries that they've got.
Yeah, let's talk about Kai Havertz, shall we? I don't think any player has ever gone out there, well, you correct me if I'm wrong, and thought, I know what I'll do, I'll miss some today. He didn't do what he did on purpose, and yet... No. I'm reading this morning about social media abuse being quite disgusting towards him and his wife. He did miss a number of chances. The problem is he's not a centre forward, is he? He's never been a centre forward, no. And yet you're asking him to play there. So should he be doing better, or is this the fact that he is simply a player who's stepping up and going, I'll play there if you need me to?
Well, he'll know that he's a quality player. He'll know that he should have done better with the opportunities that he's had. You know, I think as players, that's the first thing you do, isn't it? You look at yourself and you go, right, how could I have done better that opportunity against Newcastle, my opportunities yesterday against Manchester United? So he'll be, you know, reflecting, I'm sure, on that. But yeah, he is a player that's playing out of position. Yes, he can play there. We know that. We know that the qualities that he's got. But he isn't an out-and-out striker. But that, again, depends how Mikel Arteta wants to play. And we know that he wants to play where goals come from everywhere. And unfortunately, a lot of the chances have fell to Havertz recently. And you know, he's not been able to take those chances. So that debate is always going to be there, isn't it? Do Arsenal need an out-and-out striker? I think when you look at them, it would obviously give them another dimension, wouldn't it, to have that?
Yeah.
But it just depends on how they want to play and how Mikel Arteta wants to play. But they certainly, I think, need reinforcements in that attacking area. The injury to Saka, Jesus, again, we don't know what's happened with him, but you feel that they just need that, I suppose, just boosting that forward line, because maybe the players haven't quite hit the form that we know they can.
It's interesting, though, because you just said there that he's playing Havertz and he's probably not in his position, but Arteta does see him in that position, doesn't he? So there's got to be an element where you go, he isn't a natural striker, so he is going to miss opportunities because he doesn't have that killer instinct in front of goal. That's not him. He's a different type of player, but he knew that when he brought him into the club. He was never going to be a 30-goal-a-season man, was he? That was never what you were buying when you bought him into the club. He's not going to be that player who plays off the shoulder. I think that the frustrating thing with Havertz is that the opportunities that he misses yesterday, and that he misses quite a lot, in all fairness, is that he gets in great positions. But the biggest thing that top strikers have is they have composure in front of goal, and between their ears there's that element of being able to calm themselves down and relax themselves and give them more time in the head when they can see perhaps what a defender's going to do or what a goalkeeper will do, is that they can slow the game down in the head. He hasn't got that ability to do that, but we almost knew that, and probably Mikel Arteta did. Whether he thought he could coach that, then that might be a different side of it. But all strikers that I've played with just have a natural ability to know where to be, but also have that killer instinct to finish those chances.
Yeah, Sue mentioned Gabriel Jesus. Looks like it's a serious injury. That's what Arteta said afterwards. Right, is it a statement of where Arsenal think they're at, whether they go into the market then this January? If they think they've got a sniff of the title, they're now without Saka, without Jesus, Waneri as well. They're there. A big money buy could be the difference.
Yeah, and it's the unknown, isn't it? It could be the difference, but it could be that they're still so light in there. And that's the issue you do get. What are the options in those forward areas? I mean, if you're bringing someone in, it's going to have to be a top quality striker. Who's going to allow Arsenal to buy a top quality striker off them within the Premier League? Who's going to release one in Europe out of the top teams in the Champions League? Are they going to allow a top striker to go to Arsenal? I'm not so sure that would happen. Why would you strengthen an opposition team? It's a very difficult market. We know that in January.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about Arsenal, and this is the both of you, out of the FA Cup, behind in the EFL Cup. They're trying to chase down Liverpool in the Premier League. Champions League, they're sitting okay for qualifying to the next phase. But this is a pivotal moment for them. It could go one of either ways here, and if they end up empty-handed again in a season where City have dropped off the pace and it looked like their ideal opportunity to go and take the title. What would that mean?
Well, I think you look at how close they come to Manchester City finishing second. I thought this year would have been their season, with obviously Jurgen Klopp leaving. I wondered what would happen with Liverpool. Would this be the chance for Arsenal to actually go and get that? And Liverpool have been brilliant and blown everybody away. So I think all Arsenal can do is, yes, they're out of the FA Cup, but they've still got an opportunity in the Carabao Cup. I know it's going to be difficult for them, but they're still in that. Obviously, the Champions League, they'll still keep fighting on the Premier League front. So it's just a case of keeping going. They've been unfortunate with the injuries that they've had. They're missing Ødegaard for a period of time, now missing Saka, two of their key players in an attacking sense. So they'll be hoping that these players can come back fit and really push on for the next part of the season.
Yeah, I don't care how good a team you are. If you lose Saka, Ødegaard for long periods of time, but I think there's also been an element where Declan Rice has struggled. I think a lot of players have struggled, not just at Arsenal, but throughout the leagues where they've come back from the Euros and they found life really difficult to get back up to steam. And then it's been a little bit too late for them. And I think we're seeing that with a lot of the Arsenal players, is that they found it really difficult to find the form again. It has been a really tough season for them through injuries, but a lot of clubs will look at it and say, yeah, well, we've been struck ourselves and we found life difficult, but especially when it's Ødegaard and Saka, they're their key players.
Yeah.
Right, we'll be hearing from Arne Slot later this morning, but what about Manchester United? We're still waiting for news on Marcus Rashford, but last night, Ruben Amorim said he wasn't sure if the forward had played his last game for the club or not.
Marcus Rashford obviously wasn't part of the squad today. Is it likely he's played his last game for Manchester United?
I don't know. We'll see. He's a player for Manchester United. We'll see. He have to work. He have to represent his club, and he loves his club. But I have to make choices. Already spoke about how I make the choices. So it is what it is. So let's continue. Let's see the next game. And like I said, I have to make a selection.
So Ruben Amorim himself unsure, Flex, whether Marcus Rashford has played his last game. What's your gut feeling? What's the feeling amongst the fans? Do you think you're going to see Rashford in a Man United shirt again?
Yeah, in my opinion, I don't think we will. Not this season. You can never say never in the future. You may secure a loan and it might not go well, and all of a sudden things change in football very, very quickly, even though that's unlikely in my opinion. But I think for the rest of this season, I think he'll secure a loan move away from Man United. And Ruben Amorim saying, I'm not sure, I don't know. Again, I think that's down to the business of football, because as I've said many times, and many people talking about Rashford's potential departure from Man United have said, it's a difficult deal to do economically. You're looking for clubs across Europe to subsidise substantial wages of the best part of his £300,000 a week, which is not easy. Not many clubs can do that in January across Europe. And with Saudi not being an option for him, that needs to be considered and limits the amount of destinations he could possibly land at. But do I think he'll secure a move somewhere in this window? I think he will. But you never know in football as well. It's also possible that the economical climate didn't really allow for it to happen and he couldn't really secure a move, which would leave a bigger problem for Manchester United. Then he would have to be reintegrated into the squad, in my opinion. But I think he'll get a move in January.
Well, Manny, the early noises are probably suggesting that it's going to be Italy if he goes anywhere. AC Milan interested. There has been some other interest from Italian clubs, including Como, which would be very interesting, if they came in and said, we're going to pay for all of Marcus Rashford's wages, because no one else has said that so far. Is it a guarantee, though, that he's going to go to Italy? Can you see a Premier League club or two coming in for him and throwing a spanner in the works?
I think the thing is, you never know. We've seen it recently happen with Sancho. We've seen it happen with Sterling. So it might not be off the cards. Obviously, Rashford is a big Manchester United fan, growing up like that boyhood club. So would he want to go to maybe like an Arsenal? We're here in West Ham. I don't know, but I think there is a possibility there. It's not out of the question. But like Flex said, it's up to the financial side of things as well. Will the Man United hierarchy want him to go to a rival? or if the finances are right, can we go?
That Arsenal one's really interesting, though.
Yeah.
With what's happened to Jesus.
Can you imagine Sterling and
just
Rashford at Arsenal on loan?
last minute, dying hours of transfer deadline day. Rashford, do you want to get here? 6 months loan, no obligation. I tell you what, I wouldn't 100% discount her, but I'd just, on a personal, I'd just like to think that Rashford would just want to clean break, get out of the Premier League. Get out of the Premier League.
That would give us a lot to talk about, wouldn't it, Rashford at Arsenal. Right, so if he does go, then they have to think about replacements, don't they, Man United? PSG forward Kolo Muani, Randall Kolo Muani, remains a player of interest to Man U, although Sky and Italy are reporting that Juve think they are in pole position, and AC Milan are also interested. So the Italian clubs are really active at the moment, early in this window. He sounds like he would be tough to get because of all that competition. But is he someone who could improve their goal threat?
Yeah, not forgetting the competition actually from Tottenham potentially as well. They're looking for someone who can strengthen their front three, and he's definitely someone, Kolo Muani, who can play across the front three positions, help Dominic Solanke out a little bit. But yeah, from a Manchester United point of view, I think they've been interested in him for a long time, actually. Back when they got Rasmus Højlund in, they were interested in Kolo Muani there. So clearly there's been a long time admiration from the club for him. He scored 2 goals in 10 games so far in Ligue 1 this season. Mind you, most of them have been largely as a substitute. He's averaged around 0.67 goals and assists per 90 minutes, which isn't too bad when you consider that he's coming off the bench more often than not. But I think more than anything, he can offer speed and strength on the ball and leave defenders sort of trailing behind him. That's the idea. So yeah, he could be a good fit for Manchester United. Whether or not he will provide all of the goals they're looking for, I'm not so sure. Plus, as I say, plenty of interest out there between Tottenham, AC Milan as well, and Juventus,
Possibly
of course.
more will come in, you never know.
Yeah.
I should just say, another bit of news from Manchester United is that the 17-year-old left wing-back Diego Leon is in Manchester for a medical ahead of completing his move from Cerro Porteño, a young Paraguayan player. It's expected that he will then go back to Paraguay, join United in the summer, so probably one for 2-3 years' time. The Leicester City are actually the most active club at the moment. Let's quickly update you on the various situations that they have at the moment. Abdul Qadir Kusanov wasn't in Lens' matchday squad yesterday after they accepted an offer worth £33.5 million plus bonuses. The club are also, we've been telling you, working on a deal to sign Eintracht Frankfurt's Omar Marmoush. That could be one of the big deals of January. And they are holding talks with Palmeiras for the defender Vitor Reis. So they are active, Kwaku. If they get all 3, does that solve a lot of their problems, do you think?
Hayes is one for the future. In terms of players that can come in now and affect it, Marmoush is the one we're looking at. If you look at his statistics at Frankfurt, he's a player that gives you output in terms of goals and assists. It's interesting, though, because seeing Julian Alvarez score the winner for Atletico Madrid yesterday against Osasuna, you wonder, despite the fact that they recouped such a big fee for a player that was valuable to them, could they not do his services right now? You look at the position that Marmoush takes up, primarily down the middle, but can also play off the left as well. And so I think he's a player that can come in and affect things straight away for Man City. If you look at Kusanov, though, having talked to Kev Hatcher last week, he said he's a very good player. He's young, he's imposing, but in terms of the ball at his feet, he still needs to do some work. So I don't know whether he
that
comes
surprised me, I must say, when I heard that.
It was interesting because we expect Man City to go and rebuild in this January window to bring in players to make an effect this season. But Kusanov is a player that might need a bit of time. And if you look at Man City signings under Pep, they do take a bit of time. Think about Jack Grealish, took a season to settle in. Even players like Gundogan, it took a while to settle in. So it's an interesting window for Man City. But I'm looking at Marmoush as a player that a lot of teams have been looking at. He's very talented. He's good on the ball. He can bring that spark that Man City have been missing, and also help Haaland. He's their only goal getter, really. And Man City have been struggling in that department. So in terms of this January window, I think Marmoush is the one. But if you look at a team historically, your team, Manchester United Flex, when they brought in Evra and Vidic in that January 2006 window, nobody expected them to come in and make a difference straight away.
They initially struggled as well.
But long term, they were a huge part of that rebuild. You were in a three-year drought in terms of winning the Premier League title, and they came and changed the face of the club. So hopefully for Man City, these players can come and do that. Whether it's this season remains to be seen.
Well, look, these 3 might all be very good signings. We've got 2 young centre-backs, Marmoush, who can offer going forward in a lot of different positions. None of these players, though, Molly, are a defensive midfielder. Is that not the position, the Rodri replacement, that needs sorting out first?
Yeah, this is what